My hands still shook from the stress of cleaning their entire house for free. My daughter-in-law sat on the couch, scrolling her phone, and said, "You missed a spot. Do it again, or don't bother coming back." My son just nodded in agreement as I packed my bag in tears. I didn't think this would be my life at 62. I worked hard. I wasn't perfect, but I was a good mother. I raised my son alone after his father walked out when he was 7. No warning, no money left behind, just gone. And I made it work. I picked up night shifts at the hospital while cleaning houses during the day. I missed holidays. I missed sleep. I didn't miss raising him. He was always a quiet boy, smart, polite. I tried to give him stability, to make up for the loss of his father. I never remarried. I didn't want to risk bringing another man into our home who might treat him wrong. So I poured everything I had into making sure he felt safe and loved. So imagine how it felt when, a few years back, he started pulling away. At first, I thought it was just the distance. He got a job out in Kirkland, a good one too, and I was proud of him. He met Cassandra at some networking event, and it moved fast. Too fast, if you ask me. She came from money, private school, summer homes, a mom who never worked a day in her life. You could feel her judging me from the second we met. I showed up to their engagement party in a dress I got on clearance, and she introduced me as Michael's mother. She's a nurse or something. Like I was just some woman taking up space in their perfect little world. Still, I tried. I swallowed it because my son was happy, or at least I thought he was. When Cassandra got pregnant, I was genuinely happy for them. I went overboard, really. I bought baby clothes, made freezer meals for them to have after the baby came, gave them $5,000 from my own savings to help furnish the nursery. They said they'd pay me back. They never did. After Emma was born, everything changed. At first, they seemed overwhelmed like most new parents. I offered to help. At first, it was just holding the baby so they could shower or sleep. Then it turned into laundry, then vacuuming, then scrubbing toilets and sinks and cleaning up after their dog. Cassandra said it was too much for her, said she had postpartum fatigue and needed rest. But what I saw was her lying on the couch, scrolling on her phone, watching TikToks while I cleaned around her. She'd give little comments like, "Don't use that spray, it leaves streaks," or "Try to get the grout this time." I'd bring my own gloves and cleaners. I didn't mind at first. I wanted to help. I loved being around Emma. That little girl is everything to me. Her laugh, her little hands reaching up when she saw me, I lived for that. But weeks turned into months. Then it was expected. No more asking, no more thank yous. Just, "We need you here Tuesday and Saturday. Try to come earlier this time." My son said nothing. He used to help me do dishes as a kid. Now, he barely looked up from his phone when I walked in. I told myself it was worth it to stay close to Emma. I told myself to ignore the ache in my knees, the way my hands cracked from bleach and cold water. I told myself this was love. But last Sunday broke something in me. I got there at 9 a.m. like always. Cassandra didn't even look up. Just said, "Start in the bathroom. It's disgusting," then went back to her screen. My son was upstairs in his office, working. I didn't even get a "Hi, Mom." I worked for 6 straight hours. No food, no break. I even cleaned their oven. Their filthy, grease-covered oven. At 3:30, I was so tired I could barely carry my bag to the door. My hands were shaking. I sat down for 1 minute to catch my breath. And then she said it. "You missed a spot on the ceiling fan. Do it again, or don't bother coming back." I looked at her. She didn't even look up from her phone. Just said it like I was some maid she'd hired. My own son came downstairs just then. I thought, maybe he'll say something. Maybe he'll defend me. He looked at the fan, then at me and said, "Yeah, Ma, you didn't do the fan." I felt something go still inside me. Like my heart stopped for a second. I stood up, grabbed my bag, and walked out. I didn't cry in front of them. I wouldn't give them that. But once I got in my car, I couldn't stop shaking. I cried the whole way home. My chest hurt. My hands were still red and stinging from the cleaner. I haven't heard from them since. No call. No text. Not even a "where are you?" But I've been thinking, remembering. They forgot who I am, who raised him, who worked double shifts to make sure he could go to that fancy college, who drained her own savings to help them buy a crib. And they forgot that I know things, like how Cassandra was never really on bed rest. She was working remotely for another company under a fake name while still collecting disability. I saw the laptop, saw the emails. I even helped her scan the fake doctor's notes. Or how my son lied on their mortgage application, said he had more savings than he really did. I gave them the statement they used. I still have the emails. They think I'm nothing, just some tired old woman. But they have no idea what I've started planning. And once I move forward, there's no going back. The first week after I walked out, I waited. I thought maybe they'd realize how they treated me. Maybe I'd get a text, or even a call from my son, apologizing, saying they went too far. Nothing. By week 2, I knew they didn't care. It wasn't a mistake or a bad day. They'd made a decision. I was no longer useful to them, so I was forgotten. But Emma stayed in my thoughts. Every day, I worried about her. I knew Cassandra wasn't exactly maternal. Half the time I was there, she was checked out, more interested in her phone than her daughter. I started thinking, who's feeding her now? Who's changing her? Is she even being looked after properly? I drove by their house once just to see. Cassandra's car was gone, but Michael's was in the driveway. I saw Emma's stroller by the front door, tipped over. No one came to pick it up the whole 10 minutes I sat across the street. My stomach turned. The next day, I called Child Protective Services. I didn't report anything, not yet. I just asked questions. What signs should I look for? What counts as neglect? I wasn't ready to pull that trigger. Not unless I had to. But the fuse was lit. Meanwhile, I started going through my old emails and texts, every bit of communication between me, Michael, and Cassandra over the last 2 years. I printed everything out. Highlighted things. I found the email where she asked me to help fake the doctor's note for her disability claim. I found the text from Michael asking me to temporarily move money into his account before the mortgage inspection. He promised he'd move it back. He didn't. I remembered something else, Cassandra's old boss. She used to work in PR for a tech firm in Seattle. She told me once at dinner, half drunk on white wine, that her boss tried to fire her, so she filed a complaint and got him pushed out instead. Said it was strategic. I still had her emails from that time too, some of which showed she lied about harassment to HR. I kept them because she'd sent them from my printer when hers was broken. So I dug deeper. I reached out to her old company anonymously. Said I had documents that might be of interest regarding a wrongful termination suit they'd lost years ago. I offered to send them in exchange for nothing, just clearing my conscience. I watched from a distance as it stirred things up. Then came the real hit. I contacted an attorney I'd once cleaned for, years ago. A good man. I told him everything. Not just about the mortgage fraud or the disability scam. I told him about how they used me like a servant, how they borrowed money under false promises, how they manipulated me emotionally. He listened. Then he asked, "Do you want to go public or go legal?" I said both. That same week, I went to the bank and filed paperwork to demand repayment of the $5,000 I'd transferred to their account. I had proof, texts, bank records, even an email from Cassandra saying they'd pay me back within 6 months. It had been 3 years. I filed a small claims case. That triggered a storm. Michael texted me 2 days later. "Are you serious, Mom? This is how you want to handle things?" I didn't answer. 3 days later, Cassandra emailed me directly. "This is harassment. Drop it or we'll file a restraining order." That one made me laugh. After everything, now I'm a threat? But they weren't ready for what came next. CPS showed up at their door. I didn't call. Someone else did. Maybe it was a neighbor. Maybe it was that attorney reaching out on my behalf. Or maybe someone from Cassandra's old company decided to stir the pot after I sent in those files. Whatever it was, their world started shaking. And I wasn't done yet. The CPS visit rattled them more than I expected. I heard about it from a mutual friend, one of the few people still talking to me from their circle. She said Cassandra was furious and terrified that CPS might come back. Apparently, the house was a mess when they showed up. Emma had a rash, and the worker made a note of it. My friend told me Cassandra screamed at Michael after they left, blaming him for not hiring a proper nanny, like she'd asked. It turns out they had tried to hire someone. 2 people, actually, but neither lasted more than a week. One said Cassandra was verbally abusive. The other left because she claimed Michael made uncomfortable comments. That part shocked me. I hadn't seen that side of him, but the more I thought about it, the more things lined up. His temper. How quiet Cassandra got around him when things didn't go his way. Still, I kept my head down. I didn't reach out. I let the legal stuff run its course. My small claims suit was moving forward. But then something happened I didn't expect. I got a letter from a law firm. Not theirs, Emma's. Her pediatrician had filed a report. The rash Emma had? It wasn't just a rash. It was a yeast infection that had gone untreated for too long. The doctor flagged it as medical neglect. Emma had also missed several checkups. The state was opening a full investigation. I started getting calls. First from CPS, asking for a formal statement about what I'd witnessed in the home. Then from the court-appointed guardian assigned to Emma. They wanted to know if I'd be willing to speak on record. I said yes. 2 days later, Michael showed up at my door. I hadn't seen him in months. He looked tired. Pale. He stood there holding a coffee like that would smooth everything over. He didn't even say hello, just looked at me and said, "You're ruining our lives." I let him talk. He said they were under investigation, that Cassandra was threatening to leave with Emma and move to her parents' place in Connecticut. He begged me to withdraw everything, said we could work something out. Then he made the mistake of raising his voice. "You owe us some loyalty, Mom. We're your family." That word, loyalty, nearly made me laugh in his face. After how they treated me. After how they used me like a cleaning lady and threw me away like trash. I didn't yell. I just told him, Emma is the only family I have left. And then I closed the door. That night, I got a call from a blocked number. Cassandra. Her voice was shaking. She didn't yell. She begged. She said she was sorry, that she didn't realize how badly things had gotten. That she was overwhelmed, that Michael had changed. She even said she'd pay me back. I let her talk for a while, then asked her something straight. "Do you want help getting away from him?" There was a pause. A long one. Then she hung up. 2 days later, she filed a police report against Michael. She claimed he'd shoved her during an argument over money. Said it wasn't the first time. Suddenly, things were unraveling fast. CPS called again. The court date for custody was moved up. Cassandra moved into a hotel. And Emma? Emma was temporarily placed with a foster family. That's when I did something I never thought I'd do. I filed for emergency guardianship. The judge granted me a temporary hearing. I had one shot to make this right, and I wasn't going to waste it. The courtroom was cold. Not just the temperature, something about the air in there felt clinical, like none of us were real people. Just problems to be sorted out. I sat there in my best clothes, nothing fancy, just neat, and held onto a folder thick with printed emails, text messages, timelines, everything. Cassandra wasn't there. Her lawyer came instead, said she was in counseling and under stress. Michael sat across from me in a wrinkled shirt and slumped shoulders. No lawyer, just him. When the judge called my name, I stood. My knees were shaking, but I kept my voice steady. I told them what I saw, the state of the house, the missing doctor visits, the way they used me for free labor, then cut me off when I stopped being useful. I showed them the text where Cassandra told me to lie for her disability paperwork. I showed them the bank transfers and the emails from Michael. And I told them how I hadn't seen my granddaughter in over a month. The judge listened. Then Michael stood. And for the first time I saw it, he was unraveling. He started blaming Cassandra. Said she kept him out of everything. Said I was trying to steal his daughter. Said I was making things up because I was bitter about being left out. He even said I was mentally unstable. That almost got me. That hurt more than I expected. But I didn't flinch. The judge didn't either. They asked if there was any current caregiver able to take Emma immediately, someone with a clean record, safe home, no financial motive. I said, me. Then I opened the folder to the last page. A notarized letter from my neighbor, who'd watched me raise her 2 boys when she worked double shifts, saying I was the only person she trusted with her kids. Another letter from my church pastor, who knew me for 20 years. Another from my former employer. The judge looked it over, then said the words that nearly knocked the air out of me. Temporary guardianship granted pending final review. Emma will be placed with you this evening. Michael slammed his hand on the table. His voice cracked as he shouted, "You can't do this. She's my daughter." The bailiff stepped forward. The judge warned him once. I didn't say a word. I just stood there, tears running down my face, and nodded. That night, Emma came home. She was quiet at first, confused. But when she saw her little bunny, the one she used to carry around when I babysat, she smiled. I made her macaroni and cheese and sat on the floor with her while she ate. She fell asleep in my lap. I thought maybe that was the end of it, but I was wrong. Because the next morning, Cassandra showed up at my door. Her face was bruised, and she had a bag in her hand. She said, "I left him. I need help." And that's when the real war began. She stood on my porch with her hair pulled back and sunglasses hiding her face. But I saw it anyway, the bruise along her cheekbone, the small cut near her lip. Her voice was low when she said, "I left him. I had to." She didn't ask to come in. Just stood there, holding that duffel bag like it was all she had left in the world. I let her in. For Emma. I made her tea. She sat at the kitchen table while I watched Emma play with her stuffed animals on the floor. Cassandra didn't speak for a while, just stared at her cup. Then she said it. "He hit me. Last night. Over the guardianship." I told him I was done covering for him, and he snapped. She looked up, and I saw the fear in her eyes. I'm scared of what he'll do. So I made her a deal. I told her I'd help her file a restraining order. I'd let her stay in the guest room, but she'd have to tell the truth. Everything. The fake disability. The mortgage fraud. All of it. She had to give me a signed statement. No lies. No espin. She nodded. That afternoon, I drove her to the police station myself. She filed the report. They took pictures of the bruises. And she handed over the documents, her laptop, her email login, everything. I gave it all to my attorney. He took it straight to the prosecutor. By the end of the week, Michael was arrested. Charges: domestic assault, mortgage fraud, conspiracy to defraud the government, and child endangerment. It made the local paper. His mugshot ran next to the headline. Tech employee accused in multi-fraud scheme and abuse case. His company suspended him. His friends stopped returning his calls. His lawyer dropped him after Cassandra's statement was made public. He tried to call me once from jail. I let it ring. He tried again a week later. I picked up. "You did this," he said. His voice was hoarse, like he hadn't slept. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just said, "No, Michael. You did this. I just stopped covering for you." Then I hung up. Cassandra stayed with me for 3 months. We didn't become friends, but we became something close, co-parents in a way. We kept it about Emma. She took parenting classes. She got therapy. She got a part-time job and started saving money. When the final guardianship hearing came, the judge ruled that I would keep permanent custody of Emma, with Cassandra getting supervised visitation. Michael? He got 6 years. He cried when they sentenced him. I didn't. I stood there holding Emma's hand while he was let out in cuffs. She didn't understand what was happening. She just held my leg and asked if we could go home. And we did. I lost my son. That's the truth. I still grieve the boy I raised, the one who used to fall asleep on my chest as a baby, the one who once called me his hero. But that boy disappeared a long time ago. What's left is justice. I live in peace now. I still work part-time, just to stay busy. I take Emma to school, to the park. I read her bedtime stories. She's safe. She's loved. And she'll grow up knowing what strength looks like, Not power, not control. Real strength. My hands don't shake anymore. Not from bleach. Not from fear. Not from heartbreak. And if she ever asks me why her dad doesn't live with her, I'll tell her the truth. When someone hurts you, you don't stay quiet. You stand up, even if it takes everything you've got.